Welcome to Portugal Makes Sense Conferences. This panel will address the topic Digital Ecosystems, Digitally Global. We will hear about digitalization and its major trends, the Portuguese talent at the genesis of several hidden champions, innovative technologies and solutions, the existence of partnerships between companies, technological and research centers, universities, clusters contributing to a thriving digital ecosystem, the spread of technologies and know-how with Portuguese DNA to the world. Before this discussion, may I have your attention to the opening remarks by Mário Kamplar, State Secretary for Digitalization and Administrative Modernization.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Well, it's for me really a pleasure to be here with you in this Hannover Messe 2022. It's for me a real pleasure, and I would say an honor, to be here at such historic and I would say iconic event, one of the world's largest trade fairs dedicated to industry, and as you say, the home of industrial pioneers. I'm super happy to be here representing the Portuguese government, and actually I'm very glad that together with me, Minister of Economy today, Secretary of State of Economy are also here, because we represent this partner country, Portugal, and I think that our participation in this event is both very important for Portugal and for the relations between Germany and Portugal. Obviously, let me start by thanking the organization for the invitation to do this opening remarks in this real expert panel. Let me also greet the moderator of our panel, Mr. Pedro Miranda, who is the Vice President of the German-Portuguese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Also to salute all the members of the panel, in particular the Liliana that will speak just after me, and that she's the Executive Director of Fraunhofer Portugal. But on Liliana, I salute all the members of this panel as well. And as the website of this event says, finally, a real trade show again. This is really cool. The world, Portugal, Germany, we were faced with a situation that has put our collective ability to function as a society to test. A real unexpected situation, and particularly new, especially because of the proportions it assumed in a globalized world, which strongly conditioned the flows of people and the flows of goods between countries. That was exactly in this context that the digital dimension took a very crucial importance during all this period. I would claim that this digital dimension, sometimes we should understand it as a bit forced digital dimension, actually acquired the dimension as never before. Now a remark from my side and from my experience. The societies, the organizations, and the countries that were able to better cope with such challenges were exactly the ones that had a digital strategy in place before the situation emerged. And this is valid for any single organization, public or private, for any country, and I would claim for the society in general. So why am I so pleased to be here today? It's because Portugal had actually designed and strongly committed to a digital transition action plan that, as a member of the Portuguese government responsible for digital, I'm committed to implement and to reinforce. And the reinforcement of this strategy has a triple focus: the people's digital empowerment and the digital inclusion of the whole society, the digital transformation of our business fabric, and last but not least, the digitalization of our public services. Clearly underlining these three focus, this triple focus, there must be a solid basis of enabling elements. I used to call them the catalysts for that digital transition. And here we are talking about connectivity, and we are talking about advanced digital infrastructure, and we are talking of data, use and reuse of data. We are talking about the use and adoption of disruptive technologies. And all of this, nowadays more than ever, with a special attention to cybersecurity. Now, at this stage, I think that they have to be clear. Portugal's ambitions is to be a true digital nation. And besides the geographical aspects that may be perceived, and I also perceive them as such, as working on our favor, like being one of the safest countries in the world with a great quality of life, come and enjoy, I think that it's important to see also that we are like the door that will allow us to entry in a huge market that speaks Portuguese as their native language, and we're talking about more than 261 million of people, or being the country that is closest in distance to United States. All of that is very important, but let me point out some of other objective aspects that we are very proud and are super important when we talk about Portugal as a digital nation. Just some examples. We are fourth worldwide on women participation in the workforce. We are seventh in linguistic competences. We have the second highest rate of graduates in engineering courses in Europe. If I refer to digital infrastructures, we are third on fixed broadband access, and I note that 76% of the investors consider actually this factor as one of the most important factors of attractiveness. We are a very important hub for intercontinental connectivity with submarine cables, supported also by the deployment, the complementary deployment of energy-friendly digital facilities. And we clearly show a robust development of the ecosystem of research and innovation. Just some figures: we have more than 18 industrial clusters, 26 collaborative laboratories, 30 technology interface centers, and more than 150 incubators and accelerators. Now, part of our ambition to be a digital nation relates to the vibrant startup ecosystem. I think that we all agree that Portugal has actually received recognition and been reviewed as having a very dynamic and highly potential, with high potential ecosystem, what makes us actually already today being perceived as a real startup nation. We have one of the most evolved ecosystems. Again, just three elements to justify my assertion. First, on the number of startups and the dynamics of creation of new businesses. We actually have one of the highest numbers of startups per capita, including obviously our 7 unicorns with, I would claim, a very strong Portuguese DNA. On the network of accelerators and incubators, we observe a great capillarity with the goods spread across the whole country, enabling and incentivizing entrepreneurship. And on the investment side, very important, we observe a continuous growth of the national actors that play the role of investors in its multiple formats, and we are also very impressed by our international friends to be able to invest in Portugal. They look to our market really with a growing interest. And last year, Portugal broke the record of investment in startups, investing in the order of 1.1 billion. Look around here. It is really very pleasant to see these Portuguese startups being represented in this venue. For us, startups are super important as they are by nature digital native businesses because they incorporate innovative and technology from in their own DNA. They most often actually count on highly skilled professionals in their ranks. And all of this leads to the creation of knowledge and strong added value for our economy. And that's why we are also investing in the order of 125 million of investment in making precisely through the Recovery and Resilience Facility in supporting and continuously reinforcing this ecosystem of startups. Just another mentioning for the reinforcement of Startup Portugal as an organization that is facing growing responsibilities in the coordination and the follow-up and the support and the management and the monitoring of these funds, as well as in the support of the new European Structure for Entrepreneurship, the so-called ESNA, that stands for the European Startup Nations Alliance organization, that actually will be located in Portugal. I talked a bit about our startup ecosystem, and you deserved it. But let me say that with our ambition of being a digital nation, we also need to focus on the transformation of businesses of more traditional small and medium enterprises. In fact, the ability of those companies to transform their business models and digitalize their own products and services assumes a great importance in strengthening the Portuguese economy. In particular, as you know, focusing on small and medium enterprises because they actually represent the vast majority of the economy and of the employment in Portugal. So, in order to invest in this dimension, we have to identify and implement measures and actions that support the investment, encourage the digital transformation process, that raise awareness, that upskill the workforce, that also promote the transfer of technology between research, universities, and the business sector. This means in three short points. One, making sure that the entrepreneurial ecosystem and that we are able to attract more investment, and I just mentioned for the startups, but obviously this support to the entrepreneurial ecosystem and the attraction of investment is valid to all the economic actors and all the sectors of our economy. A second aspect is the transversal, I would call it, effort to transform digitally the business fabric with a particular focus, as I said, on small and medium enterprises, as we are doing, for example, with initiatives like the digital neighborhoods, because there we create a new way for tomorrow's consumers to relate to their suppliers, or the program of digital commerce accelerators, as actually in some cases the companies do realize that they need to embrace digital technologies, but sometimes they don't really know how to do that. And last but not least, as I said, let me pay a bit of attention to the transfer of scientific and technological knowledge to the business fabric, to the economy. And I'll refer three aspects. First, the national network of testbeds that actually is designed to overcome what is internationally known as the valley of death of the innovation process. This means creating the conditions to the businesses to develop and test new products and new services and accelerate the digital transformation, either through the use of extended physical or virtual infrastructures where they can actually make those tests. The model is certainly aligned with most of the international benchmarks, but we did not simply replicate it in Portugal because we believe that in Portugal we have here a fantastic opportunity of complementing the traditional role of research centers and universities in leading this process with the commitment of top companies that will help us to lead the way. Let me also refer to the digital innovation hubs, again a concept that is well known at European level, but that in Portugal has a particular focus to bring to the SMEs, to the small and medium enterprises, learnings in particular three important technologies: artificial intelligence, high-performance computing, and cybersecurity. We designed actually our approach to include all the economy sectors because we actually, rather than focus on the digital innovation hubs per se, what we want is to create this notion of a network of digital innovation hubs with a good governance, able to cover all the economic sectors and adopt best practices and make sure that there is no duplication and that we reach the maximum efficiency. And last but not least, a short reference to what we call free zones for technology, because there we are aiming to design together with the regulators innovative regulatory frameworks. And here we may be talking about temporarily removing some restrictions or even reinventing special rules and laws to experiment in domains like, for example, fintech. And this co-design by techies and regulators of these environments where you can experiment will allow us to cater for innovations that otherwise would not be able to be implemented. Now, dear friends, I could be here speaking about much more initiatives that we have in our digital transition action plan. Certainly, the investment is particularly important in the area of digital literacy, and I could mention programs like the Portugal Digital Academy that will allow you to self-test your knowledge and progress with MOOCs and with virtual learning, or also programs like Leader plus Digital, more digital, that will focus on the leadership of our enterprises. But all of that is certainly part of our strategy to ensure that we have Portugal, from the point of view of citizens, employees and entrepreneurs, acquiring a higher degree of digital literacy. I could also mention that Portugal scores very high in Europe in the quality of its public administration services, and that we are particularly committed into not just digitalizing the services, but simplifying the processes, re-engineering the processes to make the interaction between entrepreneurs and citizens and the public authorities simpler, frictionless. We are also committed to remove contextual barriers to the investment and provide digital services that are actually focused on the life events of a person or of a company. All of this fully in line with the digital decade and implement so important principles like the once only principle. Before I close, allow me, dear friends, to refer briefly to the need of trust in the digital world. That's why we are committing in particular to this initiative called Digital Maturity Seals. We want to award to companies, recognizing and at the same time promoting, in fact, the growing digital maturity of the business sector and actually contributing to the trust and confidence that companies and individuals have in our ecosystem of businesses. This certification will allow companies to project an image of respect to security, privacy, usability, and digital trust in one single seal. We want really to contribute to this structural change in the society, in the digital society, that establishes a positive and long-term impact because, for example, data is treated and shared according to the values and principles that we defend in Europe. And at the same time, as I said, we are reinforcing the trust on the digital environment. So, in concluding today, I would be super glad if you'd retain some key messages from my address. First, Portugal has a clear ambition to be a true digital nation. Second, Portugal has a very clear digital strategy focused on people, on enterprises, and on public services. Portugal exploits its geographical, infrastructure, and societal assets to accelerate the transition to a digital society and to attract investment. And finally, Portugal will continue investing on innovation and disruptive technologies and processes, and certainly welcomes all the partners to join us in this journey towards a better future. Dear colleagues, dear friends, I trust that more than my words, the debate in this panel will show us and will show you, through the force of your achievements, what is happening today in Portugal. And I thank you again for being able to be here, for having the opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you, but essentially to hear and keep learning from you, also counting on the future enriching conversations. And to all of you, I want to say, be creative, join us, invest, adopt Portugal, join us in this journey towards an inclusive and vibrant digital future. All assets of the present will support you and will support us in creating the Portugal digital nation of tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Digitalization needs human intelligence. Digitalization needs social and cultural technologies. May I have your attention to some remarks on this topic brought to you by Liliane Freire, the Executive Director at Fraunhofer Portugal, ICOS.
Thank you. So, also from my side, a very warm good morning to all of you. First of all, of course, thank you to the organization of this event for the invitation to be here. It is an honor to be in here sharing with you some of the path of what Fraunhofer has been doing in Portugal over the last years. Besides the thank you, the warm thank you for the invitation, I would like first also to congratulate this organization. I think there is absolutely no doubt that Portugal makes sense, Portugal knows how to do, Portugal is doing, and this is a huge success. So thank you very much. And coming to my presentation, which I will take the opportunity to use some of your messages, if you allow to also phrase mine, because they are actually a little bit aligned. So it is, I would like to share with you two main points. One, of course, the path of Fraunhofer as a strong collaboration, an example of a strong partnership between Portugal and Germany already for several years. And then to also bring to you some of our vision on this digital transformation process, and mainly to highlight the role of people in this process. So let me start, well, I had in here some sentences to frame some of the messages that I would like to transmit to you. But the most important ones is that, and I think there is no doubt, and we just heard that digitalization needs people, needs human intelligence, and needs what I would like to call cultural and social technologies. Technologies that take into consideration the social needs of people besides, well, all the other factors that we know already on the technology. But coming back to Fraunhofer Portugal, so Fraunhofer is in Portugal since 2008. It was created after a partnership between the Fraunhofer Gesellschaft, the German institution Fraunhofer, which, well, here in Germany I hardly have to present it. It is the biggest applied research institution in Europe with more than 30,000 employees, annual budget of more than 3 billion euros, and works in several areas of engineering with the main purpose of developing applied research that is capable of adding value and be transferred to industry. This is the main purpose of Fraunhofer. This is what Fraunhofer is doing over the last 7 years. So technology transfer is indeed one of our keywords. That's how we work. That's the purpose of what we do. But to do that, we need, of course, strong partnerships. Industry is one of them, and that is also represented in our structure. So we have two founding associates, one of them the Fraunhofer Gesellschaft I just described, the other is the German-Portuguese Chamber of Industry and Commerce, which represents indeed this importance of the partnership with industry for an organization like Fraunhofer. It was created in 2008, as I said, and it was actually, and now building on trust, the first research center of Fraunhofer to be created together with Austria outside of Europe, outside of Germany in Europe. So this also shows very well the capability, the trust, the strong partnership that Germany and Portugal do have in this area. It was created at the same time as its first research center, ICUS, Assistive Information and Communication Solutions, a research center that is focused mostly on ICT, on information and communication technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, prediction modeling, IoT, sensing, computing, but mostly, and I will come back to that in some moments, mostly the development of human-centered technology that is focused on the human needs, co-created with people, and actually assessed to ensure that it fits the purpose and the needs of its users. We have, since 2 years, a new center, Smart Agriculture and Water Management, so a new center that is actually being created, of course, in the areas of smart agriculture, reduction and reutilization of water, energy systems, so a lot of challenges that are related with another transition that is also very important, the green transition, positioning Fraunhofer Portugal in, I would say, good position when it comes to tackling this double transition that we talk so much nowadays. I was saying that we need partnerships, and one of the most important partnerships that we have in Portugal is actually with our academic partners. We have more than 100 researchers that come mostly, but not only, from the universities with whom we partner. At ICUS, we have a strong partnership with the University of Porto, and in AVAM, the partnership is with the University of Trás-os-Montes in the north of Portugal and the University of Évora in the south interior of Portugal. So this is very important partnerships to Fraunhofer Portugal to any Fraunhofer, it is from the universities that the knowledge, that the innovation is created, and it is our task to transform this knowledge into value and help it to be transferred to industry. But let me focus, because we are talking about digitalization, I will focus on the activities at ICUS, Assistive Information and Communication Solutions. And our vision at ICUS is to develop technologies for the futures, propose futures, but propose futures taking in mind that these technologies will impact lives. So basically creating cutting-edge innovation based on human insights. We take this is the main purpose of our technology, and as our mission, it is the one that I mentioned already, is the development of remarkable technology easy to use, meaning that we study our end users to ensure that the technology that we are developing will fit the needs of our clients and therefore the needs of their own customers. So this is the mission of Fraunhofer Portugal ICUS, and to do this, to develop technology that has in mind people, we have a secret that I would like to share with you over these images, and we represent it more or less in this abstract way. That is, we start every challenge by combining three perspectives, and the first perspective is people. We look into people, their habits, their context, their environment. And then we add another layer, and this layer are things. How people interact with things, how do things fit in their environment. And the third layer is intelligence. That's where we bring the beyond human capabilities intelligence that is able to model, that is able to combine these perspectives and bring additional value to the solutions that we are bringing. To give you an example of how we do this and to also start the floor to the discussion of the panel that is coming after, I would like to give you an example of a project that we are developing at the moment that is focused on digital transformation, of course, but from the operator point of view. So basically what we understood until now is that the systems that are developed for this purpose have to be flexible to allow this shift from mass production to mass customization, and allow to do so while keeping the needs of the workers in mind and at the center. And these needs, when I talk about needs, I talk about job satisfaction, about productivity, about mental health and well-being, and others. So what we are doing in here while working to ensure that we maintain and we promote a sustainable operation, of course, of our partners, is to develop a set of tools that allows to create and to acquire, to assess risk exposure data based on concepts as positive ergonomics and the operator 4.0. So this is actually a project that is financed by the National Innovation Agency and by MIT. It has a wide variety of partners, from Zenith Wings to NST Apparel, a textile company in the north of Portugal, Volkswagen Alta Europa, the University of Minho, Psychology School of the University of Porto, Nova University Lisbon, so a wide variety of partners. And what we are proposing in here is a framework that is capable of tracking human movement and allowing the user to self-report several digital endpoints that allow to create this holistic digital twin that allows to represent the shop floor. So actually what you're seeing in the images are some of our researchers in the factory, in this case in the textile factory, testing interactions with the user, positions, materials, making sure that the solution that is being developing has actually a natural interaction with the user and is not limiting in any way its performance. And in this image, you can see already an operator using the device that is in his wrist in the Volkswagen company shop floor. And what it does, it assesses and allows to acquire data at two levels. The individual level, meaning that it is capable of doing this human tracking and also allowing for self-reported endpoints such as the work overload, for instance, or skills acquisition. How is my level of skills acquisition? And at the same time, acquire environmental data, that's pressure, vibration, humidity, temperature, that allows to bring together this information and create, well, a combined information that promotes, that is the most important part, promotes the interaction and awareness of the worker with its workplace, and promotes also the development of strategies that prevent the worker to engage in activities that might give origin to lesions and, of course, contribute to the prevention or to the increase of the health of the worker. So this is an example that I would like to give to you, how that reflects, from my point of view, the very important role of people in this process of digital transformation. And I'm pretty sure that we will listen to many others in this panel, very important sharing and experiences that will be shared in here today. From my side, I would just like to highlight the importance and how much we value partnership. So I am, of course, we all are available to discuss with you and with all of you at any time, any opportunity for partnership. Thank you very much, and thank you for your listening.
Now, to guide us through this debate, we introduce you our moderator, Pedro Pires Miranda, Vice President of German-Portuguese Chamber of Commerce and Executive President of CEO Siemens Portugal. In this panel, we will also have with us Teresa Martins, founder and CEO of Neop, telling us about Neop, a low-code approach to the industry. João Claro, the Vice Chairman and CEO of Inter-Sectoral, analyzes an approach towards a more collaborative, human-centered and digital industry. Francisca Malda Lobo, Critical Manufacturing's President and Engineer, which will follow presenting the topic from digitalization to digital transformation. Finally, we will also have Carlos Queiroz, Head of Platform Partnerships at InfraSpeak, and Carlos Cajiga, Cybersecurity, Innovation and IT Manager at Siemens, which will present us with a use case about the successful partnerships between the two companies.
So, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and also an easier task to moderate this panel after Secretary of State for Digitalization, Mario Campolargo, and also Liliana Ferreira from the Fraunhofer Institute. It opened the ground for native digital Portugal, and we are all native digitals in our companies. So it's a big pleasure here to be with this, I would say, star panel, which are people which are doing things in Portugal, also for the export market. And I will now start with Engineera Teresa Martins. You have been very active in this fair. My goodness, there's a lot of customers coming to your booth.
I'm trying to be very active.
Yes, this is inspiring. Yeah?
Thank you.
And your company is a technology provider of low-code platform for the industry.
Yes.
What are the challenges going forward to the digital transition, which was here mentioned before, for the Industry 4.0 ecosystem? Teresa.
In fact, the most challenge is the developing of more and more intelligent solutions.
Okay.
For that intelligence, we need at the state-of-the-art level of computer vision, artificial intelligence, algorithms and models.
Mm-hmm.
And also we need to join the most innovative communications technologies. Because I think these three different areas are all of them integrated, and they are very important for the flexibility that the digitalization needs. So we need to be all well integrated with this. We need a lot of partnerships for sure. And if we work together, we will achieve a very high level of intelligence in our digitalization solutions. But we also have another challenge, not so enthusiastic like this, that is the people acquisition and the people retired.
Yes.
People now are a very, very important resource, for sure, and we need to hiring people with this type of skills.
Yes.
And also most important is to retain them in our teams. Because we define a project, we define the different tasks of for the project, but if the people leaves the project at the middle, the sustainability of the team will put it in cause. And this could impact the development of these type of solutions, and we need to deal with this with care.
Actually, I think you'll have a chance to explain a little bit more in detail, you know, how this works in on a second round of our questions.
Yes.
But I think people are really important on the digital world.
Are really important,
and
for sure.
This is also common to all us here. And with taking consideration also the importance of institutions which have a large ecosystem. And Professor João Claro, INESCTEC motto is known from knowledge creation to science-based innovation. What are the key success factors of collaboration among your digital ecosystem partners?
Pedro, thank you, good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here at Hanover Messe, and thank you very much to the Portuguese government and ICEP for setting up this panel and for the invitation to be a part of this panel. So INESCTEC is a research and technology organization, very similar to Fraunhofer that Liliana has already presented. Our main areas of activity are related to our core 4 scientific and technology domains. Those are computer science, network intelligence systems, industrial and systems engineering, and energy. So collaboration is a key aspect in our way of doing things. From our very beginning and at our very foundation, INESCTEC is a collaborative institutional endeavor between multiple higher education institutions and companies. And this dual mission of creating knowledge and getting to the fruition of that knowledge in terms of social and economic impact, it's also a collaborative stance. But now going very specifically to this sharper context of our collaboration with partners in our digital ecosystems, and particularly regarding the industrial sector, I would say that the most important aspect of our approach for success is to have a segmented and tailored approach. It's recognizing that there's a variety of partners. These partners have different circumstances, and we need to have tailored approaches for these different segments. If we are working with small to medium companies, their context is typically of a more mature company. They will not typically have formal structures for strategy development, for business development. They will typically have also low levels of technology maturity. And so our approach working with these companies mostly leverages customer intimacy and understanding of the domain, delivering expedited approaches, and working with these companies to have quick wins at very early stages of the process. If we are working with medium to large companies, then we take a different approach, because these companies will typically have more sophisticated strategies and development and evolution roadmaps. So typically from our end, we will mobilize a lot more our scientific expertise, our scientific capacity, our multidisciplinarity, because the breadth and the level of the difficulty in the challenge is much higher. So our talent, our human resources are very important here as well. So it's a much more sophisticated and challenging value creation environment. So I would say that this segmented and tailored approach, understanding the context of our partners and mobilizing the right resources and activities is the most important ingredient for success for that collaboration.
Very well, and very interesting point of view with the tailor-made, customized approach for different companies. And talking about companies which are really doing export, actually we have here the CEO from Critical Manufacturing, Engineer Francisco Lobo. And Critical Manufacturing, your company, is one of the leaders on manufacturing execution systems and arena. That means it's a very specific arena on manufacturing. What are the key challenges for business growth on your ecosystem, especially with international customers when you export your know-how to outside Portugal?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you as well for the invitation and for being here. I would say that international is what we do almost 100% of the cases. So we only have essentially international customers. And I would say there are three things which are very important. Very quickly, one is a solution. The solution needs to be technologically advanced. When we started the company in 2009, we had a very disruptive technology that we introduced. You know, since these 13 years have passed, we have reinvested and we have changed the core technology 3 or 4 times already. Okay, so this shows how dynamic this space is and the level of investment which is necessary, being this the only way to be always at state-of-the-art status. This is one thing. The second one is scale. We don't consider ourselves a startup anymore. We're in a scale-up phase of our company, and we need talented resources in order to do this. We're able to sell to the largest manufacturing companies in the world within our segments. Right now, of course, we need much more talent than what we have. Just to tell you a few numbers, last year we grew 70% year on year. We hired something like 100 persons, and we need to hire something like 200 this year. Okay? This is very important because within the Portuguese ecosystem, there's of course, you know, our talented resources are very interesting for foreign companies and so on, but taking the chance that we have here the Minister of Economy and Secretary of State of Digitalization, it's necessary to make sure that all these talented resources don't end up in just other companies, and that we have, you know, a dry out situation for the Portuguese startups. Okay, it's very important. Third, very important aspect is that even with a great product and even with great people, it's impossible to do digitalization processes that are successful if we don't have permanent investment coming from the customer side. Actually, the customer means more than 50% of the success probability, so they need to be very engaged. More than engaged, I would say, you know, this is like a digital transformation process is like marriage, right? We can plan a project, and this will be like planning a wedding. Okay, so we are selecting the bride's dress, we will select the venue, the catering company, and everything else. But then, so that this marriage continues, we need to permanently invest in it. Okay? And so it's not a one-time thing, it's a permanent investment, and that's the main challenge, is to make people understand that this is not just throwing money at the first digitalization process, but something that needs to continue from that time onwards.
Very good. Thank you very much, Francisco. And now I will switch to a very important theme, which is cybersecurity. And we have here Engineer Carlos Cajica. Siemens is a leader on the cybersecurity ecosystem. in many industrial and infrastructure verticals in Portugal and outside Portugal. What are the key benefits to your customers in regards to a more secure digital operation?
Good morning, and thank you for your invitation. Well, I'd say that for digitalizations will increase the development, and for that we need to follow rules for cybersecurity. Means that we need to harden the software, use some EC 62443 to follow this, and we can and the software developer are this is one thing. The other thing is that digitalization will increase also the data storage, and for that we must use, or it's necessary to use, encrypt data storage, that we ensure that no hackers can access easily. Needs a key to access the data storage. Other thing is the communications, that the digitalizations will have increase all the communications between the systems, between the software, and that communications we necessary to use safety protocols, encrypted protocols like IPsec. That is one common protocol for communications between systems. And also the digitalizations put more systems communicate between. And for that we need to protect the communications for the system, that necessary to use firewalls. This is one thing that can tuning the communications between the systems. Means that we can say that in firewalls that one particular IP can communicate to another IP in one port. This is one way that we can also protect. And the digitalizations also can put more to see where is some doors that was not necessary open, and for that we can protect better the devices. I think this is the most important things that I can advise for the industry. Yeah?
And maybe you can have also a little bit explaining with your partner InfraSpeak. I understand you guys have a project together, and I move on now to Engenheiro Carlos Queiroz, working in InfraSpeak, which is becoming a bigger company now. Yes. So your business focus primarily on the maintenance management, so very operationally, with intelligent platforms. What are the relevant aspects for a better digital operation of buildings and factories for asset owners?
Thank you. Thank you, Pedro. Carlos. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you everyone for attending. I think you need technology, right? So you need to bring technology to the operations. Operations sometimes are seen as the last thing where you want to put the technology because it's hidden. But in InfraSpeak, we think it's exactly the opposite. So you need technology, but you don't need any technology. You need technology that is focused on 4 pillars. As Liliana already mentioned, one of them is the intelligence. So collecting data, having data, it's something that everyone knows that has to do. But the thing is that what are you doing with your data? And intelligence is having that data, process it, and make it and transform it into something that is actionable, something that can be done in a daily basis. A second pillar is you have to choose technology that is scalable. You don't want to build an efficient business and then the technology is the one that is blocking your growth. So you need to buy technology, you need to partner with technology that is able to have a good performance with 1, 10, 100 and 1,000 clients. It needs to be the same. The third pillar is the integration. I think Liliana already mentioned. At InfraSpeak, we have this mindset of integrating. So for us, it's really important that the whole operation is integrated. And this means that the operational platforms should talk with the finance teams, should talk with the clients, should talk with everyone, because as more data you collect, you will have a better knowledge about your end-to-end process, and only then you can improve. And finally, user centricity. Also, as Liliana mentioned, you have to buy technology, and your facility will only be really efficient if you think on the people that will use the technology on a daily basis. That's why at InfraSpeak we have colorblind modes. We have people that work with our applications every day that can't read, because we are thinking not only for the people that buy the software, that plan the work, but especially for the people that execute the work. So basically, I think those are the 4 key pillars of how you can really improve an operation. It's partner with technology that is intelligent, integrated, scalable, and user-centric.
Thank you, Carlos. And now I have maybe the second round of presentation from your side. Teresa, you want to explain what Neadvance is all about, and low-code platforms and no-code platforms? And I think we can have a bit of a slide for your company. Yes, I recognize the one before.
One before, please. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Fine.
For me, very grateful to be here to talk about digitalization. And digitalization is a fact, is a reality. Machines are everywhere, and there are a lot of cameras, sensors, PLCs waiting to be connected for the digitalization of an industrial process. This is for sure very stimulating for us, for Neadvance, and for all that loves to work in industry. But currently we have a problem related with 2 main things for me. A problem related with people, and related with the speed. The people, because the lack of people, of a lot of positions in job market, and mainly the lack of people with computer vision, AI, programming tools. And the other problem is related with the speed of the growth of the digitalization needs. This speed is very high. Everyone wants a new project and new solutions every day. And software development should not be or should not impact this speed. The software development should be an enabler, not a get back of the digitalization. And at Neadvance, we thought how to accelerate it, how to make easier to develop this kind of solutions. So we developed Neop, and Neop is a low-code platform for industry. And low-code is a software development approach that enable the companies to deliver applications faster and with a minimal hand coding. And how it is possible to deliver software applications faster than we do today? Because a low-code platform, and mainly Neop, this kind of platforms has a huge set of tools already developed and tested, and the user can select them, and in the case of Neop, it is based on a drag and drop concept, so it is so easy to build an application workflow. And one very important aspect of the use of a low-code platform is who are the users of this kind of platforms. The users are technicians without need of expertise, neither in computer vision, AI, nor in program language, that after being trained can be ready for workflow design and implementation. They can even be from different areas than informatics, than engineer. They can be a mathematics, they can be an operator, an industrial operator. They can be, who knows, a musician that have a logic thinking way. And this will help a lot the lack of skilled people for this kind of projects, of applications. I don't want to bore you with technical aspects, but let me mention just three very important features about Neop. Neop has a superflow concept implemented for simplicity. Each workflow can be executed in parallel. The limit of the parallelism are the number of cores of the machine, and Neop has also a HMI editor that will allow the user to design the more suitable interface for each solution. So the solution can be very flexible, but at the same time very specific for each problem. After the workflow is ready and tested, it will be deployed on the machine, and it will run in a faster way, and it can orchestrate different systems in this industrial plant. It can orchestrate, for example, automatic control, quality control systems. It can operate a robotic cell that is performing different tasks. It can also orchestrate an industrial line. And Neop has another very important feature, that it can communicate between the shop floor level and the IT software applications. Okay, this is very important for the flexibility that all our clients are searching for, because we can collecting data from the shop floor, and we can deliver it to a digital twin, for example, application, or a MES software, or a quality manager system. And all these two different levels, the OT level and the IT level, can be easily connected by an application developed in Neop. Sorry. To sum up, why use Neop to boost the digitalization? Use Neop because it is simple. No technical logic, knowledge is needed. It is completed because in Neop, for example, we have more than 400 tools already integrated on it. It is agnostic. We are fully independent of the brand or product supplier, okay? And it is fast and effective. So,
yes. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Teresa. I would recommend that anyone here that wants to see the Neop platform,
Yes.
to go to. I don't think I have the. Yes, now I have. So anyone that wants to see this actually with machines and artificial intelligence, I was yesterday at your booth. It's a fantastic booth on Pavilion 9. So I recommend that you go there. It's within the Portugal Makes Sense group.
Yes.
So green place. And I think I was really impressed with the number of people waiting to talk to you. So this is not a common startup topic. You know, you have a lot of people want to talk to you.
Yes.
So congratulations
Thank
first.
you very much.
I will now move to InESCTech. So I ask the InESCTech slide to be on, please. And João, could you please give us, let me see if I can, yes.
Well, is the mic working? Hopefully. No, not yet. Okay, now it is. Yes. Okay, thank you. So I only have 2 slides, so I tried to summarize the core of what I have to say here in this slide, and then I have a slide with some images that are suggestive or illustrative of some projects that I am going to mention. And so what I will try to do is to give you an overview of what InESCTech is doing and is planning to do in the following years to help digital ecosystems in the industrial sector be successful. So as a research and technology organization and with a public service mission, we configure our activity according to those that are the priorities of the European Union, of Portugal as a country and our region. And so these come regarding the key challenges that we need to address and also the pathways, the core strategic drivers for tackling those challenges. So in our view, and according to these priorities for the industrial sector and for the digital in the industrial sector, we see these 4 main areas of challenge that you see in the corners of the slide. So obviously, digital transition, which will support more connected, more data-driven, a more responsive industry is one of the major challenges with as we have already discussed here, challenges in terms of human resources, in terms of skills, in terms of qualifications. The area of climate and sustainability is another major area of challenge. The regulatory frameworks are changing. This is challenging in terms of evolution of resources, in terms of evolution of processes for the industrial sector. We need to bring the sector to a very different position in terms of the trade-offs between efficiency and sustainability. European cohesion, addressing the asymmetries that still exist within the European Union is another major area of challenge, and ongoing competitive pressure and dynamics with emerging economies and the challenges especially to the so-called industrial, traditional sectors that we have already also talked about here today. This is another major area of challenge. So these are areas that are priorities for the intervention of InESCTech as an RTO. So what do we see as key strategic drivers in the pathways to address these challenges? So obviously strengthening the digital foundations of the industrial sector is one of these major drivers. Increasing sustainability, turning our companies into more active agents in a green, sustainable, circular economy is another major driver. People focus, so we are mobilized by societal challenges, and so people have to be at the core of value creation. The well-being of all the individuals involved has to be at the core of value creation. Collaboration is another major driver at multiple levels. We have to be active in programs where companies and research organizations work together in more exploration-oriented activities or exploitation-oriented activities. We need stronger coordination between public policies, business strategies, the strategies of research organizations operations as well. We need increased visibility, increased transparency, and obviously we need strong innovation dynamics. So there's a variety of roles that RTOs in general and in ESCTech can play and must play in these pathways and to address these challenges, but I will focus on the three roles that are there at the center of the slide because they are the ones that are closer to the topic of this panel. So they are our distinctive roles in terms of our contribution to ecosystems. Our role as an ecosystem orchestrator, as an interdisciplinary and intersectoral organization, and our core role in supporting and making work this collaboration between academia, between science and society and industry in terms of innovation. So in the first role, ESCTech has been and will continue to be very active in creating and bringing together and exciting networks of partners that are able to co-develop solutions and address difficult challenges. So this is something that we do on a continuous and daily basis, but sometimes we have the opportunity to take major steps here. And as an illustration of this, I would like to briefly talk about a major proposal that we have set up, and it's a project that we hope will begin very soon within a major opportunity in Portugal, which is the recovery and resilience plan. So ESCTech was active in preparing a proposal that is focused on developing new, smarter, and more resilient solutions for internal logistics in companies. So this is a major challenge. The proposal has close to 30 partners, and the ability of ESCTech to put together these companies is very closely related to its activity as an ecosystem orchestrator. So you need a variety of partners that cover the different areas of expertise. We will have integrative platforms that will mobilize technologies such as industrial IoT, 5G, or digital twin. So you need these different areas of expertise, but you need to cover also the value chain so that in fact you can go from develop to successful implementation of this kind of solutions. So the ability to bring together this complete network of partners is instrumental in this role. So the second role that I would highlight here is our interdisciplinary and intersectoral capability, and this has been also already highlighted in the example that I've shown before, but it was also very clearly a very important ingredient for success of another project, one that is highlighted here with a picture at the bottom of the slide. And this one is a project that we have completed recently, a European project called Scalable, in which we addressed the challenge that was brought to us by industry of how you optimize the configuration of your production lines on the fly. So we worked with partners to develop an open framework for this problem, integrating very tightly technologies from different areas, advanced robotics, advanced pilot plant models, networking technologies, decision support technologies. In order to deliver this kind of complex solution for this kind of difficult challenge, the ability to bring together these different disciplines is very important. And just to close our final role here, which goes back to our core mission of science and innovation, this is since the beginning. We have now 4 decades of history of ESCTech, our major commitment. It's our major commitment for the future as well. And the project that I would like to highlight here is an ongoing project with one of our spin-offs and with a world-leading e-commerce platform in the area of luxury fashion. And the work that we are doing here is bridging research that we have made for a number of years in areas such as dynamic optimization and policy learning to a solution that we are delivering to this company of a data-driven supply chain management platform. It will have at its core an intelligent routing algorithm, and it will help the supply chain managers of this company establish in real time logistics policies.
Thank you, João, for your comprehensive presentation of Inestec, which is surprisingly deep and also very important for Portugal. And now we go more for a internationalization of manufacturing execution system. Francisco, stage is yours.
Not sure if the mic is working. So just a quick introduction of critical manufacturing in a few numbers. The company has been founded in 2009. We have currently more than 70 customers, and our application is running productively in more than 140 manufacturing plants worldwide. This is important because there's a progress, the progress that as I was mentioning before, related to the number of persons that we have and the number of persons that we actually need. And just to tell you, we currently have around 60 projects running in parallel for deploying into the industry. Okay, so it's very, very challenging. We're located in Portugal, where we have the majority of our people, where we do our product development, where we innovate to serve the manufacturing world. And then we have people here in Germany, in US, China, Taiwan. So basically where we have the majority of our business segments that we operate with, semiconductor, electronics, medical devices, and complex discrete are the segments that we serve. In order to scale, one of the things that we had to learn by ourselves was that we couldn't do this alone, and we need to have strong partnerships. And you have in the slide some of our existing partners. You also have a few names of customers. Unfortunately, there's many customers that we cannot publicly disclose the name because they don't allow us to do so. But still, you can find a few very important names, some of them German corporations. The other thing that I would like to point out is that we're currently positioned as one of the leaders in this area. And the most independent study that exists about this comes from Gartner. And critical manufacturing has been positioned as a leader. So within a 4 or 5 group of companies, the 2022 edition is coming up next week, and we're also looking very, very good. And so that's the intro of the company. What we do, very simply, is we focus on a technology which is called MES, Manufacturing Execution Systems. This is at the core of the digitalization of the factories. Whenever someone asks me, okay, I want to have a more digital manufacturing, where should I start? Of course, we sell MES systems, so we tell them to start at the MES level, obviously. But regardless if this is with our MES or with someone else's, we believe that the digitalization of the physical and business processes that occur in the plant is actually a very good start of a digitalization process. This is kind of, when we have PLM systems, which stand for Product Lifecycle Management, where we design the products in the very beginning. Then the ERP, where we have the more horizontal set of processes across the entire company. And when we have the two systems, there's one that's typically lacking, which is the one that stands here at the core. Very important because there's always a lot of confusion between digitalization, and digital transformation. And very quickly, when we do digitization, we're talking about capturing in computers something that happens in the reality, but we're not improving the process. So when we scan a document, this is what we're doing. We're digitizing. When we are improving the process, then we're talking about digitalization. Unfortunately, in Portuguese, there's no such difference between the two. But digitalization means that we are improving the processes. And when, through improving these processes, we are able to reposition some of the strategic elements of the company, then we're talking about digital transformation. And again, MES is a very important aspect for that. Very quickly, just to show you one use case that we brought here. One of the interesting things about MES, especially in this area of medical devices, is that the same system can cope with the manufacturing processes for small needles or catheters or things like that. But on the other side of the spectrum, we can talk about building big machines like the ones you see here. I hope that you'll never be able to understand what Electa does, because what they do is cancer treatment MRI machines, so magnetic resonance imaging. But this is a truly fantastic company that has implemented a program. So this is a Swedish company. They have facilities in the Netherlands, in the UK, and in China. And they're using our system to digitalize the entire set of processes that they have. And this is particularly challenging in the medical devices. In general, an MES is supposed to increase productivity, which is more or less standard and cross sectors, I would say. But then it's supposed to increase quality. And of course, I don't need to explain to you what lack of quality might mean for the end users in a case like this. And also to enable quick new product introduction, which is actually very important as well here, because they need to be permanently innovating. One of the things that has to do with radiotherapy is that these treatments are becoming less invasive over time, right. So that we have better quality of life. So, you know, in essence, that's basically the case study that I bring you, of course, with lots of improvements around quality, productivity, and new product introduction.
Very good. Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you.
It's a very interesting use case, and also the manufacturing execution system is to stay and also to grow in the future. It's quite interesting that this panel has a combination of not really a startup, but a high technology company from Teresa, also in Aztec with a much broader action in Portugal and outside. And we have a critical manufacturing with really one of the stars of MAS going forward. We have only a couple of minutes to finish, and I will ask both Carlos to not exceed. I'm being said that I have 1 minute, so if you can be a star presenter, just maybe you could, without slides, talking a little bit about cybersecurity, finish, and then I give you also 1 minute. Okay, for the stage is saying that we have to finish at 11, so Carlos, you have 1 minute to prove your cybersecurity thesis.
I will pass the cybersecurity. I will speak about the partnership between Siemens and InfraSpeak that we can pass, if you don't mind. The Siemens have the building management system, and the idea was put together the operations and the facility. And that's why we created this interface that is digitalizations means that we take out the operation, manual operations that came fail event, and then normally the operations go to the facility management and make the order for a technical go to the site. And with this interface, we take out this and also improve the operations of the building. This is why, I don't know if Carlos Queiroz can also.
What we are saying here is that for the first time in the industry, we have a product that is facilities talking with operational teams and operational teams talking with facilities every day in an intelligent and real-time way, and that's why we are really proud to be announcing here this strategic partnership with Siemens. And I'm also really proud that I'm confident that in the next 2 months we will be able to put this joint product in the market and sell it to one of the biggest hotel chains in the world, doing one of the things that are very important for us, which is contributing to the exports and contributing to the digitalization of the facilities.
Very good. Thank you both, Carlos. Thank you to the panel. Secretary of State Mário Campo Largo, Professora Liliana Ferreira, vielen Dank. And I think we are finished. We are right on time at 11. So that means Portuguese are very adaptable. You know, we are not only digital natives, but we can compress messages when we want. And so I want to thank all the panel members and your attention. Thank you very much.